Hey people of VC, it's Andy, Cloudy and Milder. This time around I am going to do a bit of a spotlight focus on the collection of albums that I have that feature Kai Hansen. Kai Hansen, most famously known for being one of the founder members of Helloween and obviously having recently rejoined Helloween as well. Released a new album this year, but what inspired this video was actually this release. So Kai's other band, and the band that he's released probably the most albums with, is Gamma Ray, and this is the band that he formed after leaving Helloween. Gamma Ray are another German power metal band in a similar vein to Helloween. If you, like me, fell off the Helloween following them once Kai Hansen left, then Gamma Ray is the perfect place to pick up again. But Gamma Ray are a band that I wasn't actually familiar with myself much until 5 or 6 years ago. But I'm jumping ahead of myself slightly. So I will show this first, though, because this came out in the last couple of weeks. It is called 30 Years of Amazing Awesomeness, Triple X. It is a recording of a live stream, fan live stream that Gamma Ray did back in November 2020, not 21 yet, November 2020, when lockdown was in full swing, and they wanted to mark the 30th anniversary of Gamma Ray by doing a live show, and obviously they couldn't have fans there, so they did sell tickets online. It's not a show I was at all familiar with until I saw this come up for pre-order recently. This is the 2 CD and DVD set. I've watched the DVD. It's a great show. It's full of energy. The only thing it's missing are the fans. When you pack so much punch and you have such catchy songs and you end it and there's nobody applauding, it's such a shame. But this is a great show nonetheless. This features, I'll say, new vocalist Frank Beck. But he's been with the band a few years now. They haven't released any studio albums with him in the band, and he does a lot of co-singing duets, maybe, with Kai Hansen. Kai Hansen still sings a lot of the songs, certainly the older ones, and it works really well together. But for me, Ralph Scheepers steals the show on this. You know Ralph Scheepers from Primal Fear. He was the original vocalist of Gamma Ray, and he was invited back, and he does some songs on here, and his voice is unbelievable. But you'll see this album again at the end. This is where our story ends, but we're going to go back to the beginning, all the way back to 1985. So as I say, I've pulled out everything that I think I own. I'm probably missed something. You know how it goes with these videos, just to show off what a fantastic career Kai Hansen has had to date, and I certainly hope that he continues to do so going forward. This is not a Kai Hansen love-in terms of, you're not going to get a big biography. I admire him massively. I love the signature guitar tone that he has. You can instantly tell a song that's been written by Kai Hansen just from hearing the way the guitars sound. But I couldn't tell you where he was born, when he was born, what he eats for breakfast. I don't idolize. I've never really idolized musicians in that way. But when they play music I like, boy, I will grab everything I can from them if the mood takes me. And it seems the mood has taken me. This collection I have built up over time. It wasn't really a conscious decision to buy everything by Kai Hansen. Certainly some of the bands like Gamma Ray and Helloween, yes, but the others came a little bit more organically over time, or I was turned on because I knew Kai Hansen was into them. Turned on to the band, that is, yes. So we're 4 minutes in. I've not shown anything. I've got 40 individual items to show that have Kai on them. This is just bands that he has been a member of. There are a bunch of other bands like Blind Guardian and Avantasia that I believe he's done sort of guest spots in originally. I've not got any of that stuff. But 1985, Helloween, their first EP, self-titled EP. They've done a full circle by releasing a self-titled album this year, but this is when Kai Hansen was the vocalist for Helloween. I'm not gonna. I haven't got time to go into detail on any of these. Certainly the Helloween ones, most people will know already. The debut album, Walls of Jericho, 1986. This was on Combat. Maybe this one actually came out in 1985, but this pressing is 1986. And again, Kai on vocals, but Kai Hansen has said quite a few times, I'm sure I've read a few times, that he's always wanted to concentrate more on being the guitarist, and on the stage, being the vocalist kind of takes away from him being able to shine as a guitarist on stage. But he has a fantastic voice. He has a very distinct voice, and I know lots of people do love it, and I'm a big fan too. But I'm also a big fan of Michael Kiske. When he joined in Helloween and they released Keeper of the Seven Keys in 87 and Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 in 88, it was a marriage made in heaven, and Kiske and Hansen continued to collaborate over the years, even when they were both no longer members of Helloween. Had this been released as a live album, as a double album, like I think it was originally intended, it could have been one of the best double albums of all time. But the record company decided to split it and milk it, and it ended up with two of the best German power metal albums of all time. They were the last studio albums that Kai Hansen was part of for Helloween, but he was also on this 12-inch of Dr. Stein. That's the only 12-inch single I have. I thought I'd chuck that in. And the last appearance in 1989 with Helloween was this Live in the UK. It's an EP, but it has 7 songs on there, mostly from the Keepers period, recorded in 1988 in the UK, obviously, live in the UK. Does exactly what it says on the tin, and released in 1989. So, having left Helloween around 88, he didn't waste too much time in forming another band, his own band, the aforementioned Gamma Ray, and in 1990 he released the album Heading for Tomorrow. Ralph Sheepers, he roped in to be the vocalist, and he has got an amazing voice. It's just a shame that he didn't stick with Gamma Ray too much longer, but we'll come to that in a second. So Heading for Tomorrow is the first album. Now Gamma Ray is a band I got into in the middle of the catalogue, fell in love with, and literally bought everything I could get my hands on. But I bought them so damn quick. I love, nearly, I could put on any album and enjoy it. But this has only been the period of like the last 5 or 6 years, six or 7 years actually. But I would struggle to tell you the names of the songs that I like, because I've just got to know some of the CDs. Which is kind of a shame. I think I really wish I would have built up this collection a bit more slowly over time and really absorbed each album in turn. And I've kind of learned that lesson with other bands since then. But we live and learn. The next album we have him on is a live album. This is Heading for the East. Originally a VHS DVD only release. It's part of, this one is 2. The first 5 or 6 albums I've got to show here, or 5 or 6 CDs, are all part of the 25th Ear Music 25 Years of Metal releases. So when 5 years ago all these came out for Gamma Ray, they re-released a whole bunch of albums from the early period, and as I say, a couple of VHS live concerts were remastered and put on to CD, and a lot of these 25th anniversaries are double CDs with a live CD, studio CD remastered and live CD, and this is a 2 CD live album. Their second album, Sigh No More, and the third and final album to feature Ralph Scheepers is Insanity and Genius, and this came out in 1993. A couple of reasons why Ralph Scheepers left the band, so I'm told, is he lived just too far away from the rest of the band. The rest of the band lived in Hamburg, I think, and he was hundreds of kilometers somewhere else, and he just couldn't get together often enough, and he wasn't really able to give the time and effort to the band. And also he wanted to have a crack at the Judas Priest gig, so Rob Halford had left and he went and auditioned and ultimately lost out to Ripper Owens, but did go on to form Primal Fear, so it's kind of win-win for music fans if you like Primal Fear as well. But Gamma Ray did carry on, and Kai Hansen did pick up on the vocals. But even though we left and hadn't done any more studio albums, Lust for Live, which was another VHS only release, was again remastered and put out on CD in 2015, but the original release came out in 1994 and was the last Gamma Ray live album to feature Ralph Scheepers. The first album to feature just Kai Hansen on vocals for Gamma Ray was Land of the Free, and this is from other videos I've watched on the VC, seems to be a lot of people's favourite Gamma Ray album. And while it's not my favourite, and I'd struggle to say which was my favourite because they are so consistent all the way through, it is a damn good album. And this came out in 1995. Honestly, Gamma Ray, Kai Hansen, he's probably done more live albums than Iron Maiden, and that's saying something. Alive at 95 came out in 1996, Land of the Free tour. That's actually the last of the 25th anniversary albums. If I can put them in some sort of order, you can see they look nice and shiny on the shelf. I wish they did more of these. I would certainly have picked them up. Where did we get up to? Oh, Alive 95 in 1996. 1997, things started to change. Not so much the sound of Gamma Ray. Gamma Ray have always been consistent. But not only was Kai Hansen working hard in a Gamma Ray and releasing a 15-track CD album somewhere out in space. This is a Japanese CD copy that I have. He also joined another band called Iron Savior. It's another German power metal band. It does sound a little bit different. It's a bit more on the Judas Priesty side. He's just the guitarist on here, writes a few of the songs as well. Now, Iron Savior is more of a sci-fi concept band, really. So this album alone is like a whole concept album about Iron Savior. I would thoroughly recommend getting this and reading the booklet, and it gives you the whole story. And if you're into sci-fi, it's a really kind of fascinating concept and story. But every single album after this carries on that same concept of this war between different galactic races and the ship Iron Savior. It's really good. It's really well done. Really clever that we have. So this was 1997 as well, so 2 albums out that year featuring Kai Hansen. Had to wait a couple of years for the next one, but then we got Power Plant from Gamma Ray, and also the second Iron Savior album, Unification. Again, carrying on that Iron Savior concept. Another really, really good album. But also, 1999 wasn't done. We also got Interlude. This is classed as an EP, but it does have 10 tracks on it. It has 5 live tracks and 5 new studio tracks. And I think this was the we have more from Iron Savior coming up. And when I bought all I dived in with all the Gamma Ray stuff, and I still carried on finding stuff, and I did find from the year 2000, so the first release this century for Gamma Ray was actually a 2 CD best of album. Really good lineup, really great back catalogue, easy to put together a best of for Gamma Ray. So this came out in 2000, and the first new studio album of the year was No World Order in 2001. This is really good, this one. And the last Iron Savior album that Kai Hansen was involved in was their third studio album, Dark Assault. I believe he made the decision to concentrate fully on Gamma Ray, and he was splitting his time too much between Gamma Ray and Iron Savior, so he had to kick one of them into touch, and he carried on with Gamma Ray, of course. 2003, we got a double live album called Skeletons in the Closet. This was a tour that they did to focus on songs that they hadn't played live so much. And Kai Hansen clearly loves doing live gigs, and he's obviously got enough confidence in his songs that he's probably willing to play any of his songs live. And so there we go. So that was 2003. 2005, we've got another studio album, Majestic. This is another solid album. Again, I look at the... I know I really like this album. I look at the song titles, and I couldn't tell you which of those songs that I like, because I've listened, but without really absorbing song by song to know what each song is called. But it is a really good album. Trust me on that one. 2007, the sequel to Land of the Free, Land of the Free 2. Not as strong as Land of the Free, but it's got Kai Hansen on it. Brilliant. Another live album, Hell Yeah, The Awesome Foursome, live in Montreal from 2008. Another double CD live album. Now this was special to me. This is To The Metal from 2010, and this was the album that consumed me and got me buying anything that had this logo on it. I got this copy from Blackmore Rules as a VCLT, and instantly I pricked my ears up and I loved it, and I thought there's something that sounds familiar about this, and I had never heard of the band, and it was then that I twigged the association with Kai Hansen, and a massive collection was born as a result. In 2011, we got a mini album called Skeletons and Majesties mini album. Also, the releases started coming with like a little note letter up front, and this was saying that because the Skeletons in the Closet album was so well received, they thought they'd do an encore, so they did a few more live tracks that they hadn't played much before and put it together as an EP to keep the fans ticking over. Oh, excuse me. Do we need another live album? Yes, we do. So following Skeletons and Majesties mini, we got Skeletons and Majesties Live 2012. Now this one does feature a couple of Helloween tracks, a Future World certainly, and that one Kai Hansen joins them on stage, but another double CD live album. Now that was 2012. Also in 2012, Kai Hansen got together with Michael Kiske, and they worked on a project called Unisonic. As you can see, Michael Kiske and Kai Hansen are reunited again. This is still in that kind of power metal bracket. It's less heavy, it's more melodic, but it is absolutely fantastic. As I say, Kiske and Hansen, a marriage made in heaven. So this is 2012, and another side project that Hansen was involved in at the same time as Gamma Ray. 2013, we get a Kai Hansen feels that the Gamma Ray fans have been neglected somewhat, so he releases this EP. Again, EP. It's got 10 songs. It's got 2 new songs, 2 cover versions, and 6 live tracks. And his little love letter to the fans at the top just says, you know, we haven't forgotten you. Here's a couple of songs. Keep supporting us. Which led into their last studio album that released is 2014, 7 years ago now. So I believe we're due another album in the next year or so. I've certainly heard that he hasn't given up on Gamma Ray Project just yet. But this is Empire of the Undead 2014. This album is brilliant. You could even, often with bands, you encourage people to start from the early albums, but you could pretty much start with any Gamma Ray studio album, work your way up or down, and I don't think you would be disappointed. And Empire of the Undead is an absolutely fantastic album, well worth checking out. Where are we? I think I have no, I haven't skipped ahead. We're going to go back to some vinyl now, and we're going to go back to a couple more Unisonic releases. So also in 2014, so the same year that Empire of the Dead came out, this 5-6 track EP from Unisonic was also released. Again, really sort of melodic, upbeat, just really good power metal. Light of Dawn also in 2014, so that's 3 releases again that Kai Hansen was involved in. Light of Dawn is a double album, again with Michael Kiske on vocals. Really good album. I've said that a lot, haven't I? But so consistent all the way through, and undeniably Kai Hansen when you hear it. 2015. How about another best of album? I don't really need another best of album, which is why this one is still sealed. I've not played it yet, but the track listing looks pretty good. I did cross-reference it to a few albums, so I know it's got a very good feel of the catalogue of Gamma Ray. I'll probably open it one day, but it was just the completest in me had to get it. Where are we now? Put my CDs where the mouse goes. I need to scroll down because it's a big long list. 2016, Kai Hansen decided to celebrate his 30 years of being in the metal business by releasing a solo album. He called it Triple X. I've got these in order. He called the band Hansen Friends, and the release was Triple X. I've only found this one at a price I was willing to pay in the last few weeks. I would probably say out of everything we've shown, this is probably my least favourite, because it is from start to finish, it is the least Kai Hansen sounding album, because he is not in a power metal band here. He's just doing songs that he wants to do. There are a number of tracks in here that just sound unfamiliar, and that's partly because they've got Marcus Bischoff, I believe, is either death metal or hardcore style vocalist. He features on a few of the tracks. So the friends he's got on here are Dee Snider's in one of them, Ralph Sheepers and Pete Seelk. I always butcher that name. Enemies of Fun, great song. Contract song, I love that one. It's just a dig at the music business, and obviously a lot of things that he's had to endure over the years, but really, really catchy sing-along. Fire and Ice, beautiful song. It features Clementine Delaunay. I think she's more of like a symphonic power metal singer. Don't know too much about her, but she's got a great voice as well. So yeah, this was his solo album, and he followed that up in 2017 at Wacken Live. I think Kai Hansen has shares in this place, because so many of the bonus tracks on the CDs are taken from live shows at Wacken. I think he plays there every year. Now, this has a few tracks from that solo album, but he also plays some Helloween and some of the solo stuff as well, and has guests on stage. And I much prefer this one to the studio album of Hansen and Friends. It's a really, really good album. Great listen from start to finish. Also in 2017, and also live in Wacken. I told you he's got shares in the place. It did a show with Unisonic as well, and it's a CD DVD set. I've not watched the DVD of this one yet. The DVD isn't the full show, which is probably why I haven't watched it. But again, when you start going down every rabbit hole and different bands that he goes in and finding yourself grabbing everything, you've got to have it all. In 2019, we saw Helloween, United and Alive. This is the 5 LP box set of the show. Incredibly difficult to consume on vinyl, but I grabbed it because I found it at a ridiculously cheap price. But the version that I would recommend if you're ever going to get it is the Blu-ray version. So this is the earbook. I did a video on this a while back when I picked it up. It has Blu-ray, DVD, and CDs in there as well. Although why you'd want a DVD and a Blu-ray, I do not know. But it's a great show. It's a fantastic show, and it's a long show, but it's well worth watching. I was captivated by the whole thing, and that takes us up to 2019. And obviously, 2020 was a difficult year. Nothing too much was released, but this year we have the new Helloween album. I've done a video with my thoughts on this one already. It's great to have them back and playing and having Kai Hansen back in the band and Michael Kiske and hearing them add their own style to the modern Helloween sound. And of course, full circle, we come back to the latest live album and the inspiration for a bit of a show and tell of my full Kai Hansen collection. I've kept you long enough. Do let me know if you're a fan of Gamma Ray or Iron Savior or Unisonic, and I know you guys are fans of Helloween, or most of you are. Anyway, let me know what your favourite albums are, and also what other artists do you know that have had this kind of longevity with different bands. Not necessarily, say like Steve Harris with one band all the way through, but they have had the talent and the experience and the drive just to go from band to band and are consistently good throughout. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you again soon. Bye.